Hello, hello, hello. Start the recording, and we are off and running. Crazy days, crazy days, crazy days. We'll see how long it takes to hook up and hopefully reach some of you all out there. Remember the days? Hello, everybody out in TV land.
I know, that was so cute. I don't know if we're on yet. I'm looking for us.
All right. We're going to take bets. Who will be number one? Who will be our first? It's Eric.
Oh, Eric.
Hey, Eric, you are number one.
Hey, Eric, you get a big number one. You got this. You got this.
You got this. We got this. But what do we have? We have craziness going on in this world. Dana Green, hello. Namaste. Hope everybody is doing well. Vildan, welcome. And good to see you. Sci-Fi 76, sending love. You got to go over to, are you on the live?
Yeah. Oh, here we are. Found us.
There you go.
Okay.
Oh, good to see you guys. Pagan Girl, Beyond the Yellow Brick Road. Raphael, Stefan. Crazy. And there we go. We got Cindy Man in the buttons as well.
I like Sassy Susie. We're going to switch over to her.
Hey, Brother Keith. Here we are. Finally making it to a live show under gloomy circumstances. A lot of craziness going on. A lot. And yes, a plane just crashed in Philly, or let's rephrase that and say something just crashed in Philly. This is curious, guys. You know what I want to share with you guys is just before this, while I was making spaghetti and meatballs, taking in clear seeing, which is the English version of the Polish psychic Christoph. Yes, another. And I was telling Cindy, more plane crashes, because Christoph, you know, he's been so dead on with so much lately. He said that you're going to have 2 plane crashes on one day, and this may be the first of one other one coming. You know, he's gotten a whole bunch of stuff right, especially lately. As I'm going to open this up, it's he's one of the few people that will always refer to, and we do think that he's very gifted. He is very, very gifted. Because, you know, here you can see 7 days ago, Florida vision fulfilled. Yeah, he had predicted the snowstorm that ended up hitting Florida. And he did also predict the plane crash, but he's seeing another 1 or 2 more plane crashes. It sounds like he's leading towards 2 more plane crashes back to back. And he's talking about a new illness that's coming in the second part of this year, which, yeah, we're going to mention that too. So, yeah, the skies are crazy. As you can see, the skies are loaded. This is what it looks like over the Northeast here. And, you know, here's Philadelphia. And, of course, then we have D.C. down here. And yet another plane crash. So here you see, this is the area where it came down. Now, when you look on X, you'll find that Northeast Philadelphia is trending. You'll also find that missile is trending, because some people are thinking this didn't look like a plane crash. This looked more like a missile strike. It appears, and this is, you know, very, very early right now in this event, it appears that whatever it was crashed into a row of houses. And so there are cars that appear to be damaged, houses damaged. You know, it's going to be a long night in Philly. And, you know, here you go. Just another crazy event. This is another angle here. As you can see, people running around.
Oh my God, yo, the world, yo.
Yeah, exactly. What in the world is going on here? we've shared when it came to that F-35 that went down, Cindy was picking up psychically that it was some sort of technology from above coming down. And now in the DC investigation, they found the black box. They say both the helicopter and the plane were flying at 400 feet. The helicopter shouldn't be that high up. And many people have made note that it almost looks like the helicopter was going directly, making a point of hitting the plane. So, a lot of people have wondered about the ability to hijack the controls, or was it a person that was hijacked, or what was going on? It's also come out that there was one person that was watching a lot and was kind of doing double duty, and they said it's natural and normal for people to be multitasking was the word they were using. Multitasking. Well, shoot, when you got lives on the line like you do, and this is the explosion from another point of view, when you have lives on the line and you can see the effects of what could happen in a plane crash, it's just you can't be cutting corners. That's just insanity. And yet they seem to have unlimited money for death and destruction, but not unlimited money for keeping people safe and healthy. So, welcome guys. Good to see you all. John Public's in the house. Patty's here. Omnigma. Good to see you. Stack. Has been a while. Good to see you too, Stack. This is an angle here. I could see why somebody said missile. I mean, look at this. That, yeah. What do you think?
Well, I can see why someone would say a missile as well. I think a while ago when we did channel the Star Children, they were saying that there was no planes in the sky. So, I mean, is this the start of that? Is it just going to be too dangerous to fly in a plane because they're weaponizing it? Or, I guess we have to say, well, these are accidents, and everything that we say is just for entertainment purposes only. That's the only way we can get this information out and about. But it's really unfortunate. We shouldn't live on edge. And if you look at the human body, when we are constantly living in fight or flight, it starts to wear down the organs. It starts to make you exhausted. And one thing that we try to teach people to do is have that Buddhist detachment. Don't get yourself sucked in. Understand that, yes, there's things going on, but step back from it. Don't attach to it, because if your body has the ability to use your emotions to make you sick, that this is what they're going to do. They're going to help make us sick by causing all of this chaos. And if we need to be aware of it, but we need to learn to not connect to it. So this is really all about keeping us from working on ourselves and being the best version of ourselves that we can possibly be, and there's many different layers. Of course, there's other wars, internal wars going on too. It's just a complete mess. And I guess my point is it doesn't have to be this way.
No, and it's a matter of priorities, as we said. I do totally believe we could have a very, very safe planet with abundant food and everything everyone needs. There's so much here that can improve. And certainly we just went through, in so many ways, the worst 4 years of leadership you can imagine in the U.S. And all they're doing is pushing that pendulum farther up on each side. And to me, that it's just so blatantly obvious. So, as you see, just days after, what is it? Has it been 48 hours? It almost might be 48 hours exactly since the DC crash. You have a They say it's a Learjet. They say it was a ambulance plane, a Mexican Air ambulance plane. Well, we're going to talk about it with the tariffs, but yeah, Mexico's been slapped with tariffs. Canada is being slapped with tariffs. China as well. In fact, it's like the whole world is going crazy right now. And a lot of people, just normal, average people that don't really probably even pay much attention to the news, are starting to say, what the bleep is going on?
Yeah, this is something that's just, it's definitely building. Something that's not easy to watch and not easy to look at, and send your energy out to all those folks out there. I mean, this is so extremely traumatic to have something like this happen to you. There's plenty of traumas that are out there that are traumatic, but something like this, when you see a plane crash in front of you, say you're in a vehicle and you survive it, these folks, this trauma is going to go down the family line. This is never going to be forgotten. It's going to be it's going to be in the tissue. It's going to be in the DNA. It's going to go from family member to family member. It needs to stop, and it can stop. And we have some say in that. And I think we need to hold on to that thought.
I have a hard time believing this is what we would say a typical plane crash, although I don't know if there is such a thing as a typical plane crash. This, just the speed, the angle, it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right at all. What could possibly have happened here? It does really look very similar, I would say, to being more like a missile than a plane. So it's claimed the lives of 6 people at the moment, including 2 doctors, 2 pilots, a patient, and family members. The aircraft had just taken off from northeast Philadelphia, reports of body parts scattered at the scene. The plane is a jet rescue air ambulance aircraft. I didn't know they had them from Mexico operating in Philadelphia. I mean, it's not even like it's a border area, so I don't know. This one's going to be curious. Again, when you see this explosion, big explosion. Wow, we have some seriously crazy times going on, guys. As you can see, this quote from Ashton Forbes, "It's not a plane crash. What is this? A missile?" Yeah, it's really weird times, but we could see there's like so many things going on right now that we've never experienced before. Yeah, very, very odd situation indeed.
Yeah, I know. It looks really weird, so I'm waiting to see how all of this is going to pan out, because of course there's always more to be seen and more to be looked at. So I mean, we just kind of got to stand back and take the information given right now and see how it pans out. But yeah, it doesn't look like a normal. It looks like it has thrust to it. It does not look normal at all. And what I keep seeing is I just keep seeing the controls in these aircraft just going blank. They're either blank or they're absolutely not usable. This isn't something that's that anyone sees coming. That's what I keep seeing in the cockpits, and then pure panic. So Christoph, he did nail it. He said 2 in 1 day, but my concern is it 24 hours or is it 48 hours? Is this, since the other one was yesterday, is this now the first one to another 24 hours? How many of these are we going to see is my concern.
Well, the Washington one was literally 48 hours ago. And I think it was around the same time of night, if I'm remembering correctly. If this had just taken off and then it's impacting like that,
It looks like something impacts
it. It's almost looking like it's accelerating. I don't know. This just does not feel right. It doesn't feel right. And so, he's very interesting guy, very gifted. This is what he's saying. Two planes will crash on one day somewhere in the world. And, okay, so somewhere in the world. Now, I've also felt the word Bosphorus. There is a Bosphorus Strait. Off the top of my mind, I don't remember where that is. He was getting the impression that one plane crash may be somewhere more like central. Okay, it's Turkey. Okay. Curious. So that's Turkey, Bosphorus. But he was picking up perhaps one somewhere in the southern part of North America or the northern part of South America as well. Crashes of two planes in one day. So it'll be called a black day for aviation. Because it'll be two serious crashes in one day. So maybe it's not even what we just saw, because I don't know how many, people a Learjet can carry, but obviously with that type of explosion, doesn't look like anybody would survive. And if there's 6 casualties, it's probably not carrying that many people. Most Learjets are relatively small. So he was worried about forcing this prediction. One of these crashes may be connected to this area of South America and the south part of North America. The other crash I can see is in a populated place near an airport in the city. But yesterday's crash happened in a city near an airport. The plane was about to land. Well, here you go again, because this is the same situation again. This plane had just taken off, and it crashed. So very curious. The F-35 that we wanted to go back to, Cynthia got the feeling there was some sort of signal from above, meaning satellite, more than likely, that shut off the power, and the plane was just dead weight in the air. Now the pilot ejected, and I looked into the F-35s, and they have manual lever. It's literally a manual lever, so it's made so that if the power goes out, you can still eject, and he did. But there's been other cases. F-35s have had a lot of problems, as most of you probably are aware of, just like 737s have had a lot of problems. For those that have been with us for years, way back when the beginning of the Plague Upon the Land happened, and Cindy did that channeling, that was literally from kids in our future. They said nobody uses planes anymore. Nobody uses planes, period. And this is in the future, like 30 years from now. And, that seems crazy and bizarre. But the picture that she had gotten is even more bizarre, because, yes, there are what we would say extraterrestrials coming and going, but humans don't go between cities in airplanes anymore. It's a totally different world structure that we see in the future there. So it was interesting because, here we go. At some point in the future, it feels like we're going to be steered away from any sort of aviation. But rockets will still go. Elon will still probably be sending things off to Mars.
Right. It's always, do as I say and not as I do, and putting us in a position where we're not having very many freedoms, or if there are freedoms, we're afraid to use them. So, if this continues to happen, how many people are going to feel comfortable to pop on a plane and go see their family? I know I would definitely think twice. So is this like a manipulative move to make people really nervous? Maybe let's say they don't just flat out take the planes away. Maybe they just make it really scary to travel, and we have to find another way to travel. But ultimately, what these beings want is they want complete control. They want complete control, and they're starting to get it through through technology. So, each case is a little bit different, but it's just something, like I said, it just shouldn't be happening, but here we are.
Yeah, and Scotty was saying, could it be an FTC, Flight Termination Council? I'm not familiar with that. Anybody else that has information? Yeah, the runway 33, that was definitely in DC. That was definitely a message. Our KK has info as well. She's sharing. Oh, good to see you, Chris P. Sin Havoc. Good to see you as well. There's always symbolism. There's always symbolism going on. Yeah, that says everything, right? What is going on? I'd be curious to see what happens with this. Yeah, see? I mean, it just doesn't feel like a plane. Look at that. It just doesn't feel like a plane. That was a good view, a clear angle. That when you watch what happens over in the Middle East or Ukraine, this is what it looks like. This reminds me more of a missile incoming than a plane. So is the plane story a cover-up? Not that maybe there's something... Maybe there's more to it. Could there be a missile and a plane?
I would say that would probably be the case. There's two, because they're showing parts of a plane, so it looks to be a plane completely crashed all over the road. But I'm looking at this and I'm with you. It looks very suspicious. So I don't know. Gosh, could we actually be under attack? Do we need to change the title on the video? I don't know, you guys. I just don't know.
Well, I think last year I was really anticipating the war to start in earnest. Direct confrontation, and I do think that I was jumping the gun. But I think we are watching it building up and actually going to happen this year, which in some ways makes a lot more sense. Crazy. That does not look like a plane. Now, I wanted to touch on a few other things as well. As we were talking about mentioning, the United States is going to start to impose 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico, 10% on China, all effective tomorrow. Tomorrow is February 1st. Wow, February 1st. Can't believe a month has already gone by. This year is just going to be crazy. It is what it is. This is kind of the year everything goes bonkers. Now, this is talking about several top FBI executives promoted by Christopher Wray were told today to resign or retire, told they will be demoted or reassigned if they don't leave, multiple sources tell them. 20 heads of FBI field offices, including the ones in Miami and Washington, D.C. There is a huge purge going on. There's also signs that maybe, the left is not going to go as quietly as many people anticipate. So, or some were anticipating. Could we really be seeing here the beginning of a civil war or some sort of new revolution?
I don't know. It's definitely something where a lot of... So the money situation is being shifted around. We look at money, it's an energy. And it is kind of being shifted in another direction. So those that are losing this energy are probably pretty upset. So how much of this could tie into this? Absolutely. I mean, money makes people do weird things. I don't think that the root of all evil is money. No, I think it's what we do with the money. Just like cars and trucks, they don't hurt people, but it's what you do when you're behind the wheel. It's what you do if you use anything, any inanimate object, a hairbrush, it's what you do with it. And that's where we're at. We're looking at money. We need to see it as an energy. And some people don't like losing that energy. So I don't know how much of this is playing into it.
Boy, this gentleman looks happy. Why is he so happy? Well, apparently he was making money selling secrets to China. Yeah, according to the indictment, Rogers, a U.S. citizen with a Ph.D. in economics, worked as senior advisor in the Division of International Finance of the FRB from 2010 to 2021, where he was entrusted with confidential FRB information. The confidential information that Rogers allegedly shared with his Chinese co-conspirators who worked for the intelligence and security apparatus of China and who posed as graduate students at PRC University as economically valuable and secret. China holds a large amount of U.S. foreign debt, approximately $816 billion as of October 2024. The data Rogers shared with his co-conspirators could allow China to manipulate the U.S. market in a manner to insider trading. Maybe he's taking advice from Nancy Pelosi. Who knows? Gaining advanced knowledge of the U.S. economic policy, including advanced knowledge of changes to the federal funds rate, could provide China with an advantage when selling or buying U.S. bonds and securities. The indictment alleges that from at least 2018, he allegedly exploited his employment with the FRB by soliciting trade secret information regarding proprietary economic data sets, deliberations about tariffs targeting China, briefing books for designated governors, and sensitive information about Federal Open Market Committee deliberations and forthcoming announcements. Here you go. And he earned approximately $450,000 as a part-time professor at a Chinese university. Part-time professor, $450,000. Wow. There is money to be had in some fields, is there not? When you look at it, the corruption that we see in government, I think, is beyond most people the ability to believe. At least those that are not CONS piracy theorists. I mean, to us, no. We know they're all crooks. They're all crooks. They've always been crooks. This is what they are. This is why they are in the positions they've been in. They're all crooks. And yeah, Congress people, exactly. RFK Jr. was confronting Bernie Sanders, about the money he took from big FARMA. And, it's just the reality. It's not just Bernie Sanders. It's unfortunately a huge chunk of them. And, they do have insider knowledge. And they have been selling us out. And, in fact, when you look at the highest levels of government, we have been totally sold out. That's just undeniable unless you're just, unless you're just denying the obvious.
It's a mess, it's a mess. And I think the focus needs to be on ourselves, but at the same time, we need to know what's going on. But yeah, I mean, folks are saying in the chat, follow the money. It's always about the money. It's always about that precious energy that brings about power. And it's so sad because very innocent, wonderful human beings are getting caught up in this. The parents are getting a divorce and the kids are paying for it. And it's just so wrong. It's wrong on every level.
Yeah, absolutely. U.S. Department of Agriculture directs agency officials to remove climate change content from its public websites. After we had the snow in Florida, we actually had the coldest January in a decade or more across the entirety of the country. Again, global warming, you could just look back and replay what's been told to us, and you could see they've been wrong, but they made money even though they're wrong. People like Al Gore, they've padded their bank accounts drastically, and it drives me nuts to no end when I see people with weather. Like, I really liked Ryan Hall, and then I saw him debunking weather modification, and it's like, it's all declassified. Why are you trying to debunk it? Why? There's nothing to debunk. It's a fact. It's undeniable. It's declassified. And you're trying to debunk it? You've been paid off. It's the bottom line. So we follow max velocity now when it comes to weather. Because, two things. He doesn't seem to be paid off. And he looks like a grown-up version of Stewie.
I know. He's super cute on there. And we like him. So we tend to lean toward the character. We love people with obvious character that are not afraid to step out of the box and realize that this world is not as it seems. And unfortunately, so many of those people are just, when it comes to the mainstream, they are usually ignored. And that's kind of how the mainstream wants it to be.
And we always buy organic, eat organic, and we understand even when you are doing that, you're still getting, unfortunately, stuff that's not organic. As you may know, Costco organic apples contain a peel, which it's not just Illuminati bot that's saying this. I've seen hundreds, if not thousands, of people mention this one specific product. And the reality that we're not going to eat it because you can't even wash the stuff off. Why do they do it? Well, because then the apple will last, months maybe. But then you could put a Big Mac out in the woods and no bear is going to eat it. No coyotes will eat it because, they know better. They understand that, this is not suitable to be eaten because, again, look at Twinkies. They'll last for 100 years and they won't deteriorate. This is, again, part of why we have such a deteriorating situation with our life expectancy. Global health is in decline. It's going backwards. We need a big systemic change. And the system is doing all they can to waylay that. And I wanted to pull up just some other comments here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's all about putting this together. And then when you put it together, how do you know what's true and what's not true? This is where you have to feel into it. And you have to have the ability to stand back and watch a certain situation play out before you make any decisions on it.
When you look at the EU and right now it's just like there's so much tension in the world. It's just so much tension. President Trump says he plans to put tariffs on the European Union. And also there was another comment that said that, I don't know if it was Keir Starmer himself saying, hey, if anybody's getting Greenland, it's going to be the UK, because we're part of the EU. And, if Denmark wants to sell Greenland, we'll buy it. This is fascinating, too, because just to harp on how accurate Christoph has been, he said there was, and this is going back to December, he said there's going to be tension between the Trump regime and the European Union. And he also foresaw us kind of leaving them to be over there and, not really having their back per se, but having the back of Israel, absolutely. And he also saw war expanding in Israel and over in the Middle East. And actually, the war in the Middle East will take precedence over Ukraine and dwarf it, is what he was seeing in 2025. He also saw multiple blips when it comes to the financial crash, and the second big actual financial crash coming in the second part of this year. So, I do really pay attention to him, second only to my wife, honestly. As far as gifted psychics, I think he's really, really good. And I do think he's a really good guy, too. I could feel where all this chaos bothers him, and I remember how much it bothered my mother when she was still with us, because in her mind, the times that she grew up in were so really blessed in so many ways. So, this is really interesting to watch all this happen. And the world situation is changing drastically. The guides did give me this strange vision yesterday of tanks. And the tanks were by a highway, and the highway was loaded with people moving really fast and trying to get out of the area. I don't know where it was, but it was woodsy, very wooded, yet the tanks were very dark green, a little bit darker green than I think I've seen as far as the U.S. So I got the impression it was somewhere over in Europe, and I was leaning towards Germany. But it was just something that just hit me out of the blue during meditation. And it was very, very strange. So I usually just keep a note of those type of things.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. A lot of people are picking up on stuff now, and I do like Christoph. His energy feels very stable. I like that, stable. He doesn't seem like he uses an over amount of fluff. When you see things, just describe what you see. And to me, that's the best way to do it. And that's what I see him doing. I don't see him adding any extra fluff, because really when you're channeling, there shouldn't be any. You shouldn't be adding in your own thing. And he seems to have that ability to let the ego go and just let the information come in. And he's been very accurate. So ever since we started watching him a year or so ago, I've always felt that about him, that he was very organic. Aw, thank you. Thank you, Kenny. We appreciate it. Yeah, thank you so much, you guys. We appreciate it. And a thumbs up. Every little bit counts. Every little bit counts here, you guys. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Kenny. Kenny's been with us for years. Some of you guys we've known for, now 7-8 years. It's just awesome, and it's an honor and a privilege to see familiar faces that we love so much and familiar names. 12-pack says, I'm a drunk, but I love your channel. Well, thank you for sharing your time with us. Again, it's an honor and a privilege to be with you guys and to try to help as best we can in any way, shape, or form. So as you see, Medevac Med Service 056, MTS 56. So a Learjet 55 Mexico registered XA UCI crashed near the Roosevelt Mall after departing the Northeast Philadelphia airport just after 6 p.m. It's an air ambulance flight, and the Medevac call sign means they had a patient on board. The flight was going to Springfield, Missouri. Maybe it was, it must have been something that was rare, I would think. To take somebody from Philadelphia to bring them to Missouri on some sort of medical situation. That in itself is kind of strange. Philadelphia is one of the largest cities in the nation. And, it would be hard to imagine that there was something that they could find in Springfield, Missouri that they couldn't find in Philadelphia or in New York, or unless it was like an organ donor situation, something like that. Yeah, very, very, very odd. Strange situation. So, the other thing that Christoph was picking up on was a new illness coming that he said he saw as being something that caused numbness, like a neurological type of thing. And it was going to have something to do with creating numbness and people that will be affected by this illness. They'll suffer from numbness. It's something more like a central nervous system thing, which, right off the bat gets me worrying about something like maybe a mad cow type thing. We've seen mad cow and deer, of course, or if it's something else that's neurological. Health challenges are very real. He says in this time, doctors won't be able to explain where it came from. It's going to be affecting quite a lot of people. This is what I want to share in what we've noticed, because we do energy work, spiritual coaching. We coach even things like diet and nutrition, exercise. It's something we do all the time, and we talk to people from all over the world. So, it's not uncommon for us to talk to people in Europe, Asia, Australia, South America, North America, all in the same day. And what we're seeing is a lot of people are experiencing a lot of health challenges. Very, very serious health challenges. It's like universal. It's like if it's not the person we're talking to, they're saying it's my wife is going through this, my son's going through this, my daughter, my mother. It's everybody is facing these challenges. Now, we've talked a lot about health in the past, and we try to include thoughts for these times. And there's some things that come to mind immediately. The things that we have in the house that we never let go of and never get low on are things that might seem strange to some people, but we're more herbalists in our position on what we like to utilize, just natural substances. Wormwood. And wormwood. There's a gentleman that's a member of our family in a very, very high position, and he shared with us about 4 years ago, a very high position in government. He shared with us like 4 years ago, and he just said, you're going to want wormwood on hand. And, make sure you always have wormwood, because it's very good for parasites, and it does work with the big C as well. And there's really so many things going on right now out there of parasitic nature. So wormwood is something, black walnut hulls, cloves. We buy all this stuff in bulk. Basic essential oils that we would never be without. Eucalyptus, great for the lungs. Tea tree, anti-parasitic, antiviral. Peppermint is awesome for clearing your sinuses. We typically don't get colds. We really don't get colds. The last time we had any sort of cold or anything was around the grandkids, maybe about 7 years ago, something like that, a long time ago. And we really lean on the essential oils and the herbs. And I do think they work. I think they work great. I think nature has everything we need right there for us.
Yeah, I mean, there is a little bit of a trade-off, because you do, when you start going natural routes, you have to make sure that you're not bringing in the preservatives and the other things, because those can get in the way of having those natural remedies work. But I mean, all these things are real important. Like, what do we have? Keep baking soda in the house. We have tons of turmeric. Just ordered another couple pounds of powdered organic ginger. Always make sure everything's organic. Also, look at the source, where it's sourced from. Preferably, you want it here to be local if you can get that. Not everybody can. It's very difficult to find stuff that's local, but do it wherever you can. A coconut oil, and all the things that Mike said, wormwood, black walnut hull. these are things that are just kind of staples in the house. And of course we have our food stores, we have the beans, the lentils, the rice, and it's all organic. So if anything's going to happen, we're in a position to hopefully sustain ourselves. And the other thing that we have done is these things that we use in our house, we've kind of just incorporated them naturally, because if you just go out and buy these things and you're not already having them incorporated in your daily life, well, they might sit there and just go bad. So it's like you get something, you see how you're going to use it in your life, and then you incorporate that, and then you buy in bulk. So this is a baby step process, but anyone who has done anything, any type of backup or even family network available, you have done good. Keep going.
Yeah, Pagan Girl says, stay out of the fog. Yeah, absolutely. And I would definitely put exclamation points behind that as best as you can. We have a family member that's been very ill after strange fog was out there and weeks ago, and has been really having a hard time shaking this. I do think, again, how do I word this? Recognize that the food situation, there's not a lot of extremely safe food out there. And we had another person that we know very well that didn't do a certain thing, ouch, and yet is showing up with the conditions of that. Now, there's a lot of reasons for that, but part of it is because, again, there's certain substances in our food that a lot of us, wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole.
Well, chicken's a big one. You just really want to stay clear of that. Be very careful. You want to go organic, and that's just one of the things. And pork as well. These things you wouldn't want to go. We won't go near them unless we know where these things are coming from. But they're definitely infusing the food supply in a much bigger way, and it seems like people are starting. It's catching up on them. And some people, who take very good care of themselves, something happens and they're not doing well. So I mean, it's really unfortunate. The only thing I know to do is just to stay ahead of the game, drink lots of water, be sure you're detoxing a little bit every day, and that can simply look like just lemon water. Drink your lemon water. So we should just be doing something daily to help our bodies.
And thank you, Stefan. We appreciate it. Artemisia, yep, DSS, yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, Stefan.
We really appreciate your support. Again, you guys make all this possible. We really couldn't do it without you guys. Susan Donahue, yes, absolutely. Oregano oil. And detox, intermittent fasting. I used to fast all the time, 3 to 5 days. I find it very hard to do that lately. It's been very hard. I can do 24, so 24-hour fast doesn't really faze me. So I'll do more of the intermittent nowadays. But boy, I'm always hungry now. I guess I'm a growing boy at 60 years old, right? Growing boy. But you really, I just really want to stress that we can still be the best us at any stage in life, and I don't think that there's ever a time when things are too late. Look at this guy getting a little love and a little bit of smooching there. I want to share with you guys these beauties too. We're going to share some of our own video with you guys, because we do have cameras up on the house, and we get visits from guys like this and gals every single night. There's anywhere between 4 or 5 and sometimes a dozen deer out there in the yard. I have a tendency to throw out things they do enjoy, and they come by, and they're regulars. But we also have foxes, and we have skunks and raccoons, and pretty much everything you could think of where we are.
Oh yeah, I know. They're everywhere, and they're so cute and adorable, and they're big old ears and their big old eyes, and they look so sweet. Nature is beautiful. I think we need to stay focused on her as much as possible while we're going through these stresses, and just realize, these chemicals that are released in our body every time we worry and we stress, that's not doing us any favors. We got to find ways to disconnect, and we're going through an ascension, and people think sometimes things happen for apparently no reason, but really you're probably going up, and everything that no longer serves you is going to have to stay down, and sometimes that can be very difficult and scary, and it manifests as illnesses that don't make any sense.
And this looks like one of the other creatures that's on our property all the time, too. There's actually a fox den at the end of the yard. Look at, he brought back all his buddies, all his family's there with him. God, I love creatures. I love interacting with them and trying to gain their trust. And, we're blessed in that we have this place where we have so much wildlife coming through all the time. And, now we have a camera system up, too, so we could watch it, which does lend an extra piece of mind, really. I'm so grateful, again, for the camera system, even though I'm not a techie. We're far from it. Just in the craziness of these times, you have to be aware of everything going on, and sometimes you can't you can't keep from sleeping, and it's a crazy world. It's going to be a real kind of crazy year, and I do think we have to just ride out this roller coaster and do it by supporting each other and working together. And again, one of our other family members we were talking to today too, Cindy was seeing that he's going to be at some point in time supplying food for many. This is part of why we come here. Times that are the most challenging do have the most reward karmically and also in learning life's lessons.
Right. I'm so excited, and thank you so much, Safe Space. We appreciate your support tremendously, you guys, all of it. Thumbs up, showing up at the lives, being kind to each other, giving advice in the chat. I mean, anything that is good and is going to bring positivity, please bring it on. Load up the chat with love and connection and anything and everything that's going to make somebody else's life better. You never really know what somebody else is going through. So when you say, if people say something that's like not nice, you don't know how badly that's affecting them. So always just be kind. When in doubt, be kind. And I just got to say a huge we're so proud of our Dave in UK. The website is called Bloomin' Organics. It's Bloomin' Organic. Oh my gosh, I can't believe. Hold on just a second. I want to make sure I get it right, because he has done a lot here. Yes, so it's bloominorganic.com. He's going to be working on helping feed a lot of people, giving organic food to food banks. And he just got the website up. He has a lot of work to do on it still. But we are so extremely proud of him. And we're so grateful of everyone else who supports us. And it all comes together when we're doing this together. There's no way Mike and I could do this by ourselves. Absolutely. Never could we do this by ourselves. Not by a long shot. So please, you guys, give yourself the pats on the back. Everybody who's supporting us in one way, shape, or form, know that you're supporting the entire awakening.
Absolutely. I saw the question about what brand. I mean, we have now green, black walnut, wormwood complex. And then I also have Wild and Organic as another brand. And then I also have Pura, P-U-R-A herbs. So I've tried different brands, and it truly, as long as it's organic, I haven't really noticed much difference between them. But organic would be number one. So guys, it's a pleasure as always. We give you guys so much thanks. We couldn't do it without you guys. Stay prepared out there.
Sorry, Safe spaces for women. Thank you so much, you guys. We appreciate your support. Be safe. Lean on one another. Be kind. Use your heart. Think with your heart. Listen with your heart, because that's going to be the one thing that never lets you down.
Source bless and namaste.